You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
The following podcast will contain spoilers, tangents, hot takes, and excessive foul language. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Frightmares Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Proctor, and joining me today for episode 379 is my good friend, Matt Stokes. How are we today?
Good, man. How are you? Happy to be here as always.
Yes, thank you for joining me today on another installment of Maylien Invasion. We're discussing our modern pick, Nope, from 2022, a movie that will literally make you afraid of the clouds, or at least it made me afraid of the clouds for a little while. So let's see where this lands on the Nightmare Index. All right. Okay, so a lot of stuff I've watched, but I always like to kick it over to the guest. Oh, I'm doing well, by the way. I don't think I ever answered you. ADHD.
Thank you. I was like, what the hell, man?
ADHD. Have you watched anything good in like the past week or so that you would care to talk about? Or bad? I always love hearing about a bad movie as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at the old letterbox. I watch so much stuff for my podcast for 1 week rental. Everybody subscribe to 1 week rental. I watched a bunch of Child's Play movies because we did a Chucky movie. Saw Gangs of New York for the first time since I was a teenager. I really liked it.
Nice.
So we did Sweet Home Alabama starring Reese Witherspoon on the podcast this week. That was okay. It was. Reese Witherspoon's charming. That's my review. And I went back and read reviews from the time, and that's what every single review said is like, I mean, this movie could have been written by AI, but she is so charming. And I watched Captain America Civil War. I don't remember why I chose to do that, but I gave it half a star. I truly think it's the worst blockbuster of the modern era. I think everything bad can be traced back to that, but we don't have to get into it.
No, I want to get into it. Half a star for Civil War. Interesting. What about it? I mean, half stars as low as you can go. Well, I mean, I guess technically if you wanted to, you could just do no rating, but half a star is the lowest you can do on Letterboxd.
No one would see it. I was trying to be a provocateur. I think there's worse Marvel movies than that. Like there are worse ones that are more incompetently made, or often it's just like they're not making any decisions ahead of time, or the studio can't decide on a direction. So it feels like you're watching 5 different movies that were stitched together. But I feel like this one, they're making exactly what they want to make. And it annoys me because they decide every single character in the movie needs to be an idiot and needs to not be the same person from scene to scene. And it has your beloved hero, Steve Rogers, being the dumbest person of all in the movie. And I can't stand it. I can't stand what they're doing to this man, who I like.
Are you at this point, are you even excited for Doomsday coming out this year?
Am I excited? No, it's homework. It's homework. This is all homework. Honestly. Mandalorian and Grogu, that's homework. It's all just, if I didn't, no, I mean, are you excited for Doomsday?
Nah, at this point, it's not so much excitement as it is just obligation. If I don't see it ASAP, it's gonna get ruined for me. Someone's gonna spoil it somewhere. So I'm really not.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
that's the problem. The movie's enjoyment shouldn't hinge on whether or not I know which. Oh my God, can you believe which cameo we saw? There should be a little more to it.
Right, and that's the issue is, I did ruin Spider-Man Far From Home for myself by looking up the cast list just because I had to know, and of course I saw who was in it, and I was like, I just introduce him, and here we go, or No Way Home, or whatever the fuck it was with all the Spider-Man.
The one with the mini difference. Yeah, but at least in that one, it's like there's more story mileage you can get out of just seeing the three Spider-Men interact. It isn't just, oh wow, dopamine hit of seeing the actor appear on screen, and then that's that.
That's true. So yeah, I don't know. I was unexpectedly surprised by Thunderbolt. A hot take from me on that one. It's my favorite Marvel movie. I fucking love the Thunderbolts, probably because I related to it on an emotional level through Bob. But it just felt so different, and like they were actually trying to break the formula in a way. But I love Thunderbolts. But yeah, at this point, it's just I'm watching them to keep up. At this point, I think I will definitely be dead before they finish the Marvel Saga universe. And it's probably one of my biggest regrets is I'll be dead before I actually see the culmination of it just fucking ending. So
that's the whole thing, though. It's like comic books, or it's like a soap opera, or it's like wrestling. Like there's no actual end.
Right.
You just have to keep dangling the you were a greyhound running around a track, and there's a rabbit in front of us, and we're gonna get resolution, and it's like we did. This story ended in 2019, Avengers Endgame. Everyone went to see it. And I think it was pretty good. I feel like the world ended and we're all like, we're dead, but we don't know it yet. We're still acting like we're alive. We're like, oh, there's a new Avengers movie coming out, but we don't understand. No, it's over. We're dead.
Yeah, how many times have we died at this point? Let's see, 2000 for Y2K, 2012, 2020. I think we have to be in like the fourth alternate version of this universe at this point, because every couple of years we're just dying again. It's a state.
The computer, the universe is running out of disk space. It keeps needing to reboot. It keeps needing to clear its cookies.
Clear that cache on a daily basis. Oh, Jesus Christ.
So maybe we'll get excited it's still a long ways away. Maybe when the movie comes out, we'll get that old feeling again, which I did used to get. I've not always been a Marvel hater. I used to be really enthusiastic about it. But,
right. I agree. I'm with you. And they're also releasing Dune Part 3 that day. So step aside Barbenheimer. We have Dune's Day coming up.
That has to change. They're going to change that.
They fucking better. It's the same audience. If people like Dune, you probably like the Avengers movies. It's a pretty, at least with Barbenheimer, those were drastically different audiences for the most part. Obviously, I was interested in both, but if push came to shove, I was going to see Oppenheimer. So, yeah. But anyways,
with Civil War, I would just say, I'm truly not trying to be a troll. I think that is sort of a turning point where the movies stopped trying to function as individual movies about real people, and it just became whatever the individual movie calls for characters to have to be, that's what they will be. There will be nothing that actually carries over from movie to movie.
No, I get you. And for a second, I did think you were talking about the Winter Soldier. That's why I was like, wait, half a star. No, Civil War. I can totally understand the explanation for that. That does make a lot of sense, to be quite honest. So, all right, I haven't rated anything that low. Typically, I did rate something 1 star, though, which we'll get to. Watch the new Mortal Kombat 2. I was in the very small section of people who really enjoyed the first Mortal Kombat. I gave it 4 out of 5. It has like a 2.5 average. I love that one. This one has 100% more Carl Urban, and it was like I gave it 5 stars. No fucking regrets. Won't be taking comments on it. Mortal Kombat 2 was utterly hilarious, gorier than the first one, had a really interesting story, and a pace that didn't stop. For a 2-hour movie, I want to say, Mortal Kombat 2 is fucking awesome. What was my review? Anything less than 5 stars just feels like a crime. So that was my... did you see Mortal Kombat 2 by chance?
No, but I did see the first one twice. It was like one of the first movies I saw back in theaters back in 2021.
Okay.
And it was I liked it fine. I liked how bloody and R-rated it was. Hearing that they added Carl Urban, it's like, yeah, I feel like that's one of the things that was missing is just an actor who pops.
Yeah.
Because all of those people felt so anonymous, except Kano. I liked him.
Kano is great. No spoilers for the sequel, but like, yeah, Carl Urban in this movie, he's at his peak right now. Like Carl Urban is peaking all over the place. He was so good. He was not the only comic relief as well, although he was the majority of it. He plays a washed up actor who gets thrown into Mortal Kombat and kind of just figures out a way to survive. It is such a goddamn fun movie. Watched Haunting in Connecticut for the first time probably since 2009. 3 stars. Like, it's enjoyable for what it is, but it's not a great story. I watched something called Spy from 2015 with Melissa McCarthy and Jason Statham.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
It's a great movie. It is so goddamn funny. I was not expecting it. Oh, and Rose Byrne playing a villain. Jude Law's in it as well. Allison Janney's in it. It was hysterical. The kid was asleep and I had to just like cry laugh into a pillow because it was so goddamn funny. 4 stars for that one.
There should be a Spy coming out every week at movie theaters. It doesn't make sense. Everyone loves that movie. There used to be just a new comedy like that or just a movie star driven movie like that coming out every week.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people hate on Melissa McCarthy. I do genuinely like her. I think she's pretty fucking funny ever since Bridesmaids. I think that was the first thing I saw her in. I enjoy watching her. She just has this doofy mom energy that I'm completely here for. And then watched White Zombie from 1932, Bela Lugosi. What a fucking film. Film Masters restoration on that bad boy. 3.5 stars. Could definitely see that going up with a rewatch. Something called The Ugly from... It says this last year, but for us in the States, it was this year. Directed by the same guy who did Train to Busan. Very, very good mystery thriller with a gut punch ending, so just be prepared. 4 stars for that bad boy. And then another, that was sent over from AV Entertainment as well as White Zombie. And then the last one sent over from AV Entertainment was No One Will Hear You Scream. And this is a slasher movie based around the 1990 World Cup that's set in, that was in Italy. But these people are in Buenos Aires because Argentina is part of the 1999 FIFA World Cup. Very interesting backdrop, very punk grunge, but also had giallo vibes. Highly recommend. 4 out of 5 if you can watch that anywhere. I think it's on Tubi, or if I'm not mistaken. Highly recommend that. And then the Cult Movie Challenges. 2 more, and then I'll shut the fuck up. Cult Movie Challenges I have to catch up on from 2 weeks ago was Hell's Trap for Mexploitation Week, Mexican exploitation. Just listen to the, not the review, excuse me. Just listen to the synopsis because it is the wildest synopsis. 7 young people go to a desolate forest looking for a bear. What they don't know is that a crazy Vietnam vet lives there and he is waiting for fresh blood. That's it. That's all I'm going to... He also has Freddy Krueger hands. I don't know if you can see the image there. It's kind of. He's got Freddy Krueger hands. And
yeah, I like that idea. Now, you said this is Mexploitation?
Yeah, which
comes to us from Mexico.
This one is, let's see, releases. Yes, Mexico, 1989.
Okay, so presumably this is an American Vietnam psychopath, right?
Correct. Yeah, I was wondering that as well because I thought to myself, I don't think Mexico participated in the Vietnam War. No, it was someone from America that I guess just went to Mexico to live in the woods, and he's apparently deranged from what happened in Vietnam. It all doesn't make sense.
No, that sounds lovely. Yeah, I love the idea of a Vietnam vet going insane in the woods. But more than that, I love that 70 people are like, we got to go check out this bear. You got to find this bear.
I'm going to leave the context out of it just because why they're going to search for this bear is just, it's just so ridiculous. And then this week for the CMC challenge was Julia Strain week. No idea who Julie Strain. No idea who she was, but apparently she is dubbed the Queen of B movies, which seems odd because I love B movies. Don't know who she is, but also I don't know everyone. This was a waste of time. I'm just going to say it. I don't usually I try not to speak ill of movies. I try to find something redeeming about each movie I watch. This was just a waste of time. It was trying to be this art house experimentation film, but also it's got this green screen hellscape going on in the background with a plot that is so nonsensical. I don't even know how this got made into a movie. This isn't even a B movie, okay? This is like C-class movie. It's like a home video that it's called Purgatory Blues. My God. It's a simple concept when you read it, and I'm going to leave it anonymous for anybody listening. Obviously, Matt, if you want to look it up, check it out. I'll leave it anonymous for anybody who wants to go read the synopsis. It is very straightforward, and my God, do they dilute a very simple description very quickly in this movie. So, 1 star for that one. That's the lowest I've rated anything in quite some time. So, that one is on Tubi, and there was only like 4 ads through the whole movie, so it didn't stretch it out longer than it needed to be, which was great, but I can't recommend that one. No offense to Julie Strain, she was good in it, but she also did appear, her first appearance in the film, she was just naked, and I was like, this is my first impression of you. Okay. All right.
Well, that was it. She was a very sexy lady. She was in real movies.
Yeah, she was, to be fair.
She was in the great Steven Seagal movie Out for Justice, an absolute classic, where he's an Italian guy like, oh, I'm Italian. I need to get justice in these streets.
And she was in Beverly Hills Cop 3, Double Impact, The Doors, Repossessed, which is a horrible but fun movie starring Linda Blair being possessed, but it's very like Exorcist coded, obviously, and Leslie Nielsen is in it. So yeah, she's been in real movies, but a lot of the titles were things like Sex Court, the movie, or fucking Bikini Beach. And I was like, okay, this is why I haven't heard of her. This is a different grade of B movies that are just not my thing. So yeah, not a fan of this one. There were some cool POV shots. I'll give it that. There's one thing I liked. There we go. They had some fun little POV shots here and there. Other than that, though, whew, man, it was rough. There is definitely an audience for this. It's not me. So, unless you have anything further to discuss on what you've watched, we can move on here.
No, let's talk about Nope.
Let's talk about Nope. All right, here is the body count. And now my notes app just wants to fuck off. Go away. All right. So this is Nope from 2022, released on July 22nd of that year in the U.S. It is rated R for language throughout and some bloody violence, bloody images. No sex and nudity, moderate violence and gore, severe profanity, mild alcohol, drugs, and smoking, and severe frightening and intense scenes. Coming in at 2 hours, 10 minutes, listed as a horror, mystery, sci-fi thriller. Directed by Jordan Peele. Everyone should know him from Key and Peele, but he also directed Get Out and Us. He also wrote this movie, and he wrote the 2 movies I just mentioned. Composed by Michael Abels. He also composed Get Out and Us. No shock there. Cinematography by Hoyt van Hoytema. If that name sounds familiar, it's because we just talked about him on Let the Right One In, but he also did a lot of work with Christopher Nolan, including Interstellar and Oppenheimer. Edited by Nicholas Monsieur, who also edited Us. We've got Daniel Kaluuya starring in this as O.J. Haywood. He was also in Get Out as Chris Washington. Keke Palmer as Emerald Haywood, who I didn't realize does a lot of work in TV, but she was also in Hustlers as Mercedes. Brandon Perea as Angel Torres. He was in Twisters, plural, as Boone. And then Michael Wincott as Antlers Holst, not only an incredible name, but you might know him from The Crow as Top Dollar. And then Steven Yeun as Ricky Jupe Park, probably most recognizable from The Walking Dead as Glenn. Estimated budget of $68 million, grossing $171.2. Filmed in Los Angeles, Acton, and Agua Dulce, California. Nothing makes me happier when they say the name of a town in a movie and they're actually in that town filming. 10 out of 10 on that. You can watch this on Peacock. Movies that came out around the same time, we have Bullet Train, Thor, Love and Thunder. I cannot believe it's been 4 years since that movie, or Prey, or Fall, or Day Shift, or Orphan First Kill, Skinamarink, They Them, Glorious, and The Leech. IMDb summary here. The residents of a lonely gulch in inland California bear witness to an uncanny and chilling phenomenon. This is the Autopsy. All right, Matt. Have you seen this before?
Yep.
I want to state that for the record. Did you see this in theaters by chance?
I did.
Very nice. All right, so overall thoughts on Nope. What do you got for me?
Do you think that Jordan Peele thought the cinematographers I'm spending a lot of time with, they're fucking crazy and they worship the sun, and I'm going to make a movie about that?
Probably.
It's the rare movie that features a cinematographer as a major character, and he's like, I know we just accomplished our goal, but the light looks really good. I got to go capture it with my camera.
That was such a peak moment when he's like, it's basically about to be golden hour right now. Like, this is the martini shot. I have to get it right now.
These are really weird. I've been slowly making my way through Roger Deakins' book, and it's like, yeah, they all worship the sun as a god. They're like pagans. Sun, the light.
I love it.
Yeah, like Jordan Peele a lot, Us is probably my favorite horror movie of the last 10 years.
Ooh.
And like Get Out a lot as well. I remember seeing this in theaters and being just the slightest bit disappointed, thinking this was a step down for... I don't even remember why it is that I thought that. I think that it's like its pleasures are more buried than those two movies. I think those movies are a little more straightforward. Mm-hmm. Now I watch it. This is the second time I've watched it, and I think I was a stupid idiot. This is a goddamn masterpiece. I love it. Say yep to Nope. Yeah. That's what I
put that on a t-shirt and sell that. I feel the same way about this movie. I remember seeing Get Out in theaters, very underwhelmed by it, but I was also, God, that was 10 years ago at this point. I was a completely different person. And then same thing happened with Us, right? I came out of that movie being like, ugh, that movie wasn't that great either. What's all this hype about? Rewatched both of those before Nope, probably like the week before. And I was like, oh no, these are brilliant films. And going into Nope, I just, since I had them fresh in my head, going into Nope, I was like, okay, now I kind of know what to expect. And when you get the reveal of what the alien actually is, I cannot tell you, my brain exploded. I was like, this is the wild, like, how long have aliens been around? And this is the first movie to do this? That's insane. Yeah. So I came out of the theater actually loving it, funny enough, because I was just stunned by the cinematography. The UFO itself was just haunting. I don't even know how to describe it. It was too quiet in some moments, and it would just lurch past the screen. And every time I saw it on this watch, I'm just like, ooh, like I just gasped. Even though I've seen it, this is my third time. I was just like, oh, that UFO, I love it. So I think this is a goddamn masterpiece as well. And especially after this watch, I think it might be my favorite horror movie of the 2020s so far, which is a pretty...
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like I was, after the credits rolled, I was like, God damn, that was really good.
Yeah, I think that people's negative reaction, or just at least strong reaction to it, is there is something a little like... it just doesn't go down very smooth, especially the way Get Out did, and Us to a lesser extent. I don't know. It's there's a lot to process, a lot to chew on, and some people don't have the patience for that. But there's sections of the movie that are just such incredible, straightforward horror filmmaking, like him going into the the barn or the arena, whatever it's called, and there's the little kids dressed up as aliens, but you don't know that it's little kids dressed up as aliens, and it's shot so incredibly, like with one of the alien guys just in the frame, and you don't know that you're looking at it, and nothing changes in the frame. Your eye just notices it, and you're like, what the fuck is that? Why is it moving like that? And it's just a fucking person in a costume. So he is one of the best at just the nuts and bolts of horror filmmaking. And maybe that frustrated people because otherwise the movie's not that interested in making just a straightforward horror movie.
Well, and also my opinion on this whole, because I'm very tired of the term elevated horror. I really think that term is just created by people who don't like horror movies that make them think. That's really all elevated horror is. It's horror that makes you use your brain. It makes you think. It makes you question. Nope is a lot of that in this movie, especially with the total fake out that you were just talking about. I thought there were going to be little green men, whatever, little gray men appear, and then it's just fucking kids. And I was like, oh, okay, so are we going to see aliens later? And then, of course, burying the lead early because we go into spoilers, the ship is the alien. Like, holy shit. So there's not a lot of straightforward horror. It's more of this looming presence that is hovering over you at any given point that could attack at any given point. It's just this dread that lingers throughout the entire film for me, and that's what works for me. Of course, that's not going to work for everyone out there.
Yeah, and I would say the genre it actually is, it's a Western. Not only does it have so much Western iconography, but it is dealing with classic Western themes of like, we're trying to tame a world that we have and we tell ourselves we have control, and we have no control. We have so little control, and we're basically little stupid animals in the universe trying everything we can to convince ourselves we can control things. We can control nature.
Yeah, and you're totally right. I mean, Nope somehow manages to be a UFO film, a creature feature, a satire of Hollywood, a Western, and in my opinion, one of the smartest horror movies of the 2020s. It none of that makes sense on how do you mesh all of those genres together? Nope, that's how you do it. Jordan Peele's I would love to live in his head for a day and just see how he thinks, because all of those different genres don't make sense on paper to me, and he mixes them all flawlessly, in my opinion. It's incredible how he's able to bring so much into a movie that is layered, but I don't really find it dense at the same time. What's the word I'm looking for? I guess layered is just the perfect word for it, because it's not, I mean, there is a lot to chew on, but it's not so much that I'm like, I don't understand what's happening here.
There's a lot of ideas and a lot of threads you can pull at. When I first saw the movie, I was like, me and my wife got in an argument about the movie, about what it meant afterward. I was like, you're wrong. It's about nature. It's about how we don't understand nature and we're bugs in the universe. And this time I think like that's it. But I think more it's about media, and not the media, but just media or maybe images, that we use images to try to understand the world, but images actually just distort the world. And the quest they're on in this movie to get proof of whatever they are seeing, they are under the delusion that this will mean anything. Right. It won't mean anything. That's not going to convince anybody of anything. Nobody's going to understand the truth. We don't live in a world where everybody can see the same thing as one people and understand it the same way. If we ever lived in that world, we certainly don't live in that world anymore.
No. You're 100% right. I agree with that point, because to me, the biggest theme of this movie is exploitation, not just in Hollywood, but in culture, entertainment, because everyone in this movie is trying to capture something, whether it's profit, whether it's control. OJ and Emerald, they want the impossible shot. Jupe wants to monetize this alien coming to eat all these horses. The cinematographer also wants that perfect image. He gives his life for it. Everyone is chasing spectacle in this movie for different reasons, and it doesn't work out for anybody except for Emerald. Well, I say work out. The only people to not be consumed by this thing are Emerald, OJ, and their little IT helper buddy. I can't remember his name. Yeah, Angel. So everything is about spectacle in this, and the movie repeatedly asks what happens when our desire to witness something overrides our basic survival instinct, because everyone puts their survival instinct. I mean, I'd say OJ is probably the most level-headed with that, because there's times when he figures out that, if you don't look it in the eye, that it won't attack you. So he just sits in his car all night. He's like, fuck this. But a lot of people put themselves, their basic survival instinct out the window in this movie completely.
He's the one who's closest to nature. He literally works with horses.
Right.
And one thing that happens in modernity is we drift further and further away from nature. Mm-hmm. Media is a big part of that. The word media is literally like mediates, puts a layer of separation between us and the thing we're looking at. So things like survival instincts go away. And instead the instinct becomes, I have to capture this and document it.
Right.
And you can see people behaving that way all the time. I follow all these accounts that complain about music festivals, how the crowds at music festivals are terrible now because nobody sings or dances. They just hold up their phones to record. Yep. And the thing with those recordings is like, you're never, ever going to watch what you're recording? Have you ever recorded a concert and gone back and watched it? Why would you? No. But like, we don't live anymore. We don't do that.
I'm guilty of that. I used to go to festivals a lot, and I would take videos to put on my Snapchat story, and that's really about it. I would record every now and again, but after a couple years, I'm like, I'm not watching these, and they're just taking up space on my phone. So I stopped doing that. But you're right. We're so obsessed with catching the moment on a phone or something that we're not actually living in the moment and enjoying that moment. We're relying on this recording we're never going to watch to like, I don't get the point. Go to the concert
to show other people I was there. Right. I am alive. I lived. It doesn't matter.
That's why there's when I saw and this was, oh my God, 14 years ago in 2012 when I saw Tool at the UFC or UCF arena, they had a no phones rule. I mean, I did break that a couple times because I'm like, I don't know when I'm ever going to see them again. And I do legitimately go back and watch those because it's one of my favorite bands. Only seen them once, but I like it when an artist is like, hey, no phones. Like,
Maynard James Keenan is throwing up right now listening to you say that.
Oh, I know. He's probably so upset with me. But yeah, I totally get what you mean. It's just everyone in this day and age is so they wanting to capture it and wanting to get something more that, because even then, if you capture it, no one's gonna believe you.
They keep talking about how we need to get the Oprah shot, and they're talking about Oprah as like this standard of Oprah determines reality. And like one of Oprah's enduring legacies is spreading all kinds of bogus information about fad diets and pseudoscience and alternative medicine. She's the reason Dr. Oz is a public figure is because of her. So it's like she's just as responsible for breaking reality in the media as anybody.
I always wondered why they kept saying we got to get the Oprah shot. I was like, does she even cover UFOs?
Also, she doesn't have a show anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure by 2022 she was done. So yeah, but I do love their camaraderie because the two of them are just completely different. You have OJ is very shy and quiet and reserved, and Emerald is the just complete opposite of OJ. And I like their, like I said, I like their camaraderie because towards, once the movie keeps going and going, OJ starts to come out of his shell a little bit more and you start to see more emotion from him. But you also have to remember he's still reeling from the death of his father. I forgot Keith David was in this because he's literally in it for 5 minutes before he gets struck in the head by a nickel and then dies. It's like, Jesus Christ. So he's still reeling from that. And they don't really give you much about Emerald's backstory with the ranch and her father, but I got the impression that she wasn't around as much because she was doing other things. I don't know. How do you feel about her relationship with kind of the family?
That she is exactly what you said. Okay. That she does not feel this attachment to she does feel it, but she doesn't feel it as personally as OJ, or maybe she does feel it as personally as OJ, but thinks he's a little deluded to be so attached, and she's trying to create something else for herself that is detached from like this ancestral thing that they're an important part of Hollywood history. This family, that their great grandfather was the first subject ever captured in a motion picture. And then, their father, who Keith David seems too old to be their father, but he was their father, and he seemed to have Hollywood figured out. I do love this idea of like in California, it's the West. This used to all be horses and stuff. And we still have it around, but we have it to like simulate the old world. We have it to put it in movies, and then we have Stephen Yeun's like little like Western stunt show place. We recreate the past as kitsch. And Daniel Kaluuya is like trying to hold on to that and respect the horses, respect the traditions. This is an animal with its own will, and I love the opening sequence with him at the soundstage of everybody being like, yeah. No, I hear you. It's really important what you're saying. Let's get on with it. Let's get the shot.
Yeah.
I think the first time I saw the movie, I was also Keith David's like one of my favorite actors. When he died within 30 seconds, I felt ripped off. But it's like you need Keith David to play this figure who has to lurk over the rest of the movie. You have to put an actor with that kind of gravitas, even if they're only going to be in 2 scenes, so that you get why his death means so much to everything.
I totally agree with that. You're right, because without him, You don't have the anchor that OJ was attached to, because obviously his dad, I'm sure, was probably his best friend. Again, we don't get a lot of backstory, but you have to assume from his actions afterwards that he clearly is distraught over the loss of his father. And Keith David is a commanding presence. Total sidebar, I forgot to say, from the corrections department, it was Ken Foray that I always confuse with Keith David. They don't even look alike. They're just very prominent actors in horror in the 80s and 90s. Anyways, yeah, so I feel like Keith David is this weird anchor to the movie, even though he's only in it for a few minutes. But it's because he makes that scene with the 5 or 6 lines of dialogue so impactful. And you just kind of feel his presence there, even though he's not there for the movie.
I think Daniel Kaluuya is doing a Keith David impression in the movie.
Okay.
His voice sounds a lot like Keith David. Now, if you hear Daniel Kaluuya's real voice, he's like, "Oh, I'm Daniel Kaluuya, aren't I?" But yeah, much deeper than that. But he really sounds like he is trying to mimic Keith David's very specific voice.
Now that you say that, yeah, he does. He does seem to have. I didn't notice that at all. But yeah, he's very, very reserved and very just calm about things. But damn it, now you're totally right. You're making me rethink about all of that stuff. He does seem to be kind of doing his version of Keith David. Between
Kaluuya and what's his name and Michael Wincott, like the sound editor had his work cut out for him just to hear these people speak. Like, sorry, what's that? Got to really crank up the volume on both of them.
Can you please turn? You got to speak louder. Fucking Antlers Holst is one of the coolest names. I mean, that's as cool as Top Dollar. I don't know where Antlers Holst came from, but it is such a fucking cool name. And Michael Wincott in this is great, and I love his involvement in this movie as well, because they go to him immediately as he was the cinematographer or DP for that shoot that they were doing at the beginning of the film. And I find it fascinating that he is clearly a believer, and it's something that he's chased his entire life. Clearly, he gave his life for it. And when he hears that news report about all the people going missing at Jupiter's park or whatever it is, that's when he gets involved and starts to be like, all right, let's figure this out. Let's make a plan. So I love how he was just like, don't chase that dream, kid. You'll never get it, to I'm going to just I'm going up in the UFO, and I'm going to use this camera that doesn't use electricity, and I'm going to get this fucking money shot. And then the camera falls to the ground, and I assume they got the shot, or at least I hope they fucking did. He gave his life for it. So
yeah, but like what? And then what? People, you watch it on YouTube and you're like, damn, that's cool. And then you move on with your life.
That's how desensitized as a culture we are.
No, but you would be right too. How the hell? I mean, I guess I wanted to ask you, like, one, just aliens in general. You think aliens are real? Or more like, what would it take for mankind to accept that there are aliens?
I mean, one, yes, it would be, and maybe not aliens in the sense that we're thinking of these little tiny green men, but to think that we are the only intelligent form of life in a galaxy that is literally so big it's impossible to comprehend would be such a ridiculous thought. So there has to be something else out there. What was the second one? I'm so sorry. Oh, what would it take? What would it take? I don't know. There's almost like undeniable proof at this point. There was a few years back where the government released that video footage from a fucking jet that was basically irrefutable evidence of a UFO, and people were just like, whatever.
No. See, here's why we have a problem, because I hear that and I'm like, yeah, of course the government. If the government tells you that, it's a lie. They're doing that. It's an op. It's an op. That's it's like JFK assassination. Like, they're never going to release the document that's like, yeah, we did it. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess that is fair. I don't know. I mean, I had one experience one time. I can't tell you what the hell this thing was. And there was 3 of us there, right? We were standing in the driveway, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, whatever the hell we were doing when we were 20 years old. None of us were on any sort of hallucinogenic. It was beer and weed. That was it. And literally, all 3 of us saw this bright light rise from the ground, go probably about 300 feet in the air. A ball shot off from the side, and then it just disappeared into the night. So I don't know what that was. Not a fucking clue. Wasn't a firework. Wasn't anything. I mean, that's the only experience I've had with anything that I couldn't explain. But for mankind to finally accept. I mean, I think this movie has to happen or something like that. Like something's got to swoop down from the skies and cause havoc at this point. I
think if this happened, it would be just like everything else. It gets ingested and digested, and half of people believe it, half of people don't, or it's like Trump embraces the aliens, so people who hate Trump are like the aliens aren't real. And then it just gets forgotten about immediately.
And then we move on to the next thing, or it's a total they live scenario where they've just been here the whole time, and we're not awake to see them. I don't know. I feel like the options are unlimited for alien life out there, but I mean there has to be something. I sure hope it's not something that appears to be a saucer that's just sucking people up off the ground, because that is a horrifying way to go. I'd rather have probes in my butt than be sucked up into a whatever that was. And actually seeing them inside of this living, breathing creature was the stuff of nightmares. Wasn't expecting to see that, but I also wasn't expecting the UFO to be a creature. That was probably one of the greatest reveals.
It's a fun idea that you can even like see it and be like, oh, that's why we think UFOs look the way they do, because we saw this stupid balloon thing, and it's not an alien ship at all. It's an animal. It probably is. This is not intelligent life visiting us. This is just some stupid space animal stumbled upon our planet.
Right. It's just
it's probably been here for millions of years.
It's an instinctual, predatory alien just that looks like a flying saucer and is completely quiet in the way it flies. It's absolutely fucking haunting, this movie. So I want to circle back around here to the beginning, because I noticed, well, at least I remembered this time because I wrote it down, that there's a quote at the beginning of this movie. It says, "I will cast abominable filth at you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle," from Nahum 3:6. This is actually a book in the Bible. Never heard of this book in the Bible. Went to church for most.
Nahum?
Yeah, Nahum, Nahum. It is a book in the Old Testament. Literally never heard of it. I went to church for most of my, adolescent life, and then tapered off of that. It's just not my thing. So what's interesting though is that,
dude, I love the Bible. The Bible's like my thing.
Is
honestly.
It?
No. Book of Nahum, seventh book of the minor prophets of the Hebrew Bible. Because like Us has that made up Bible passage in it. So I was wondering, are they doing that thing? They're making you think this is a real Bible thing?
That's exactly why I looked it up, because I remembered the thing from Us, and I also didn't recognize Nahum, so I said, okay. Got to check this out. So, as you said, the seventh of 12 minor prophets and the author of the book of Nahum, his book primarily contains prophecies about the destruction of Nineveh, the capital of the oppressive Assyrian Empire. Historically, this message brought comfort and hope to the Israelites by assuring them that their cruel oppressors would face divine justice. Now, how does this relate to hope? How does this relate to Nope? The alien, which they dubbed Jean Jacket, becomes a spectacle for Ricky, Jupe Park, and later the Haywoods. The creature literalizes the verse by raining blood and abominable filth down on the Haywood Ranch. The verse critiques the audience's desire to consume spectacles such as the TMZ photographer or the televised violence of the Grady's home rampage. Jupe exploits his own traumatic past with Gordy to create a new spectacle, ignoring the danger. Nahum is a prophecy about the fall of Nineveh, a city of blood that thought it was untouchable. Similarly, Jupe believes he can control an untamable, dangerous predator, resulting in his death and his audience's death, just as the arrogant Nineveh fell. The verse sets the stage for the film's bad miracle theme, where unnatural and violent events are spectacles for viewers' consumption, mirroring how God makes the sinful city a public example. That was a lot to say. So it actually ties into the movie in a very interesting way, which I appreciated, because I was kind of upset with Us not having that be a real Bible verse. I was like, what are we doing here, Jordan Peele? What's going on?
No, I love making up a Bible verse, because most people are gonna be like, oh yeah, I read that book all the time. I love it. I love this thing of turning it into a spectacle in the stupidest way. It's like a very old idea. King Kong. What happened in King Kong in 1933? What did they do with King Kong? They're like, oh my God, wow, this changed everything we understand about nature. Let's put it on stage and come look at it. Everybody come look at it on Broadway. And then, Jurassic Park. Oh, we brought dinosaurs back from the dead. It's a miracle. It's the scientific revolution we never thought would be possible. Oh, it's a theme park. Because that's actually all we can do as a species anymore is turn things into shows. Steven Yeun's doing it with his own life. He lived through this insane trauma of being a child actor and seeing all these people brutally murdered by a chimp. And he's just monetizing it. Even his co-star from the show you can see her like monetizing it because she's wearing like the shirt of herself, and you can assume she's like doing the con circuit and everything because it's all we can do. It's the only way we can survive.
Yeah, and I find it crazy because that Gordy flashback is terrifying, not only because it feels real in a way a UFO kind of doesn't, because there's no music pushing this tension. There's no exaggerated horror framing. It's a chimp ripping people to pieces, which you don't see. I feel like if they were to show more of it, it probably would have pushed past R and been NC-17. But it's interesting how that scene kind of mirrors Jean Jacket. Gordy wasn't evil. He was an animal pushed into an environment, or an unnatural environment, until his instinct took over. So Jupe completely misunderstands this lesson. He survives that incident and convinces himself that he has this special connection with Gordy, that he was chosen. And he even says that right as he's showing the crowd the horse that he's going to have the alien consume. To himself, he kind of whispers, "You were chosen." He's not chosen. I missed that.
Yeah. I missed that. Okay.
Yeah. It's a real quick as he turns to the crowd, or as he turns to the landscape and snaps his fingers and the sheet comes down. He goes, "You were chosen," like quietly, but I had subtitles on because I'm fucking deaf. So and it's funny because his arc is cyclical. You know what I mean? Like he thinks he has this connection with this animal, goes to do it again, but then he just, he gets, in this instance, he fucking gets eaten by Jean Jacket. So I love that whole, because the scene in the beginning is the most what the fuck opening to a movie that I've seen. You have the chimp, you have a couple other situations, and then it's like, nope. Okay, let's get some explanation for this. And he tells the story narratively so well by breaking it down into these segments. And then finally you get to Gordy, which is kind of in the middle. And then you get that whole scene where they almost bump fists and then the chimp dies. I do have a question about that scene. What the fuck is with the shoe? Why is the shoe standing straight up? I cannot figure this one out.
Yeah, I think that later in the movie when Daniel Kaluuya goes back to the ranch and it's a mirror of when Jupe, is the only one alive on the set when he was a kid.
Okay.
And it's just this massacre. Okay, so later, Daniel Kaluuya's, going through the ranch, and it's a very similar vibe. What happened here? This massacre happened here, and there's a pig on the roof. And it's like, it's just the inexplicable. That there are things about the world that you're not going to know. Why is that shoe just standing the way it's standing? Did the chimp put it there? Did the chimp see that, and that's what set it off? Don't know. You'll never know.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because it's I don't really need an explanation, but I'm just like, what is that shoe? What the fuck is that shoe doing? But I mean, really, this movie is 2 hours of people just misunderstanding animals, except for OJ and his horses. He understands them very well. But for the most part, everyone thinks they can, well, at least Jupe does. He thinks he can control these animals that are wild. And
he's running this insane business that's this really kitschy old west like stunt show and shitty theme park that also has a museum to his own career as a child star. And it seems like that's probably where he makes his actual money, is like these really insane rich people come in for a private tour so he can, tell them about the trauma he endured, the trauma that he endured that the rest of the world did not experience. They experienced it as an SNL sketch. Right. Like they don't know how horrifying it was. And so he can't tell them how horrifying it was because then they wouldn't want to pay him to come hear about it.
That's why exactly he tells them the SNL's version of it instead of the real version, because trauma for him, but also you don't want to hear what actually happened. There's no fucking way.
And like this is, think of like everybody who attends any horror conventions or any kind of conventions, which I love that that's there for them. But think of like Adrian King from the first Friday the 13th movie has a Friday the 13th wine. And I think there's other people who will give like Friday the 13th tours at one of the, like Crystal Lake. This campground stood in for Crystal Lake for 20 minutes of one movie.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody's squeezing as much juice out of their own lives and career as they can, wherever they can.
Yeah, especially he said, what did he say? He had that Dutch couple pay him $50,000 to just stay in that room for the night because there's this weird obsession with this story that everyone doesn't know the full details of, but he's making money off that because he literally says, I usually charge for this, but here you go. And it's just a shrine to one of the most traumatic events, not just he has experienced, but anyone would have ever experienced. I mean, my God, watching a chimp go crazy. This movie definitely inspired Primate, though. I feel it had to have. That's my little headcanon, is that someone watched this and we're like, you know what? We need a full-length feature film of a chimp destroying people, and that's how we got Primate, which came out last year. So
I gotta see that Primate. I keep thinking I do love a chimp going nuts and murdering people.
It's honestly really solid.
Yeah, I know. I don't need to know anything about it. Just I'm going to like that movie, I have decided.
Yeah.
Do you ever go to a zoo, and if you get near a gorilla or something, and by near I mean like 15 feet away, you do suddenly feel like, oh, this thing could flick me and I would be dead. Mm-hmm. I would be fucking dead. That it's something you will not understand if you watch it on a screen, which I think is another thing the movie is dealing with, is the way the way media will just distort everything. You look at a picture of a gorilla and you don't understand what a gorilla is, or you see a chimp on TV and you're like, oh, chimps, my beloved friend, the chimp, and it's a fucking wild animal that's gonna rip off your dick and feed it to you if a balloon pops.
No, you're right, though, because if they did, I mean, Primate's a little different, but if they did show it in this, it wouldn't have been, they showed just enough of it, I think, because as the movie goes on, you see a little bit more and a little bit more, and the most you see is the lady's feet be on the couch and him smashing her face, and then he chases the one guy off the set and smashes his face as well. Because people don't realize, and this has weirdly come up a few times this year on the podcast, probably because Primate came out this year. Chimps are just like so much muscle. They're all muscle, and they will literally rip you limb from limb if they're provoked to a certain point. So that's what I don't think people actually understand, is these things are stronger than you could ever imagine, and that's why I would never want one as a pet, just in case it decided to go crazy and then rip my dick off and feed it to me. I'd rather not do that.
I still want one. We just did the movie Showgirls on our podcast a few weeks ago, and there's just chimps in that movie. That's part of this stage show. They just have these adorable baby chimps, and it was just a ubiquitous part of culture. Like, oh, chimps, our friends. They're so kind and sweet. And you don't understand that if you were seeing it on screen, that means that there were well-trained animal wranglers who ensured that everything went very, very smoothly.
Correct.
On the set, and that gives you the idea that the chimp can be tamed. The chimp can live with me as my baby. No, it can't. It's gonna murder you.
Unless you raised it from a baby and it's been around people its whole life. If you just take a chimp from the wild, it's going to rip everything that you love apart. So yes, I very much agree on that. And even in the CG monkey, it's aged a little bit, but it doesn't look terrible. I don't think.
It sort of bugged me, and I mean, I know you can't put chimps in movies anymore, so it sucks. But
hey, the Primate is a guy in a suit, and I fucking appreciate the hell out of that. No CG in that movie, but for the purposes of Nope, I totally understand. You got a $68 million budget, just fucking use it. No need to throw a guy in a suit. But I like the way they kind of hid some of the CG with the little tablecloth that was coming over the side, so they were able to kind of hide some of it and blur it. But even the UFO still looks really great. I mean, I know it's only a 4-year-old movie, but still, I think the UFO looks fantastic. It is also hidden in the clouds a lot. And then even at the scene at the end where it expands and does this, which I don't know why it did that. Do we have any speculation as to why it puffed up like a jellyfish?
I wasn't thinking about. I mean, it could be. It feels that these people are actually a threat to it, and so like a king cobra, like standing up straight and expanding its thing.
Okay.
It could be that, but I just fucking love the design of this thing. I love the idea that an alien is just a stupid big jellyfish. They have the praying mantis that appears in the in the security camera. And the thing about praying mantises and all kinds of animals is if you look them up really close, you realize this is an alien. I live on the earth with lots of little aliens. Right. Like jellyfish are ridiculous. They shouldn't exist. Why do they exist?
Jellyfish are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this movie it's it really is a spectacle. And it's funny that the whole commentary really is about spectacle. And I think this is his spectacle, because it is something to witness. It has horror moments in it. It has the overlying dread of this alien creature you don't know anything about. I mean, they don't even reveal the fact that it is a living, breathing thing until about an hour. I think it was like an hour 15. So you got about 50 minutes left. You don't even know that. And then once that reveal happens, I don't know about anybody else or you, but just like that heightened my anxiety so much, because I was like, oh, they're not just beaming people up. This thing is swooping down and just eating the people, or in a lot of the cases, leaving them in there screaming. I don't know what that was about. He waited sometimes, or the thing waited to eat for quite some time, because you could, every time it swooped past, you could just hear all these screams of people. And I was like, that is the stuff of nightmares. I don't ever want to be stuck in there. So I don't know why it waited so long to eat the people. Maybe it was just part of the digestion. Maybe the digestion takes a little bit.
No, I think that's it. You know, why does a python swallow an animal whole, and the animal, like, it's dissolved with stomach acid? I don't know.
That's true.
Not good for the animal getting eaten.
I'll tell you, though, that scene, I think the most impactful scene for me is when Stephen Jupe realizes he fucked up, because the alien shows up early. He's like, oh, we're early. Usually this is like 6:30 every night, or every Friday. Yeah, it's early because there's 40 fucking people there, and that shit is hungry. it sees an opportunity, and it's like, I'm taking all you bitches. And the funniest part, it leaves the horse. I found that to be hilarious. It's like, I don't want the horse. I want all of you fuckers over here. So
I love the crowd at that place. It's so sad. Yeah. And they are treating it like it's a packed house. And they had his wife on the phone like, hey, I was reaching out. Maybe you wanted these free press passes. Like, yeah, the press wants to come attend your. They want to attend this show as much as they want to attend my podcast. Let me record my podcast, please.
Yeah. So what about you? Is there a scene in particular that really just had an impact on you?
The first time I see Keith David on a horse, I'm like, this is my three favorite things in a movie: a person on a horse, a person on a horse in front of a hill, and the person is Keith David. You got all three, perfect. And then the last shot of the movie is now it's Daniel Kaluuya on the horse, looking like a goddamn hero and movie star. And I was just like, yeah, because I am. You know, I'm getting older, and like all dads who reach their late 30s get really into Westerns. And I want all movies to be Westerns. I want everybody to be on a horse. That's all I want.
I think I'm getting to that point now. I really am. I'm 36 now, and I can. It's like I can feel it. It's like looming in the background, because my buddy loves Westerns, and there's a podcast on someone's favorite productions that's called Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys, and it's all Westerns. And I'm like, I feel like my future is imminent, and I should just embrace it now.
No, embrace it. Embrace it. Just slip into the bathtub. The water's good. Close your eyes. No, Westerns are great, but they never actually went away. It's just like the things that I think a couple things. Hollywood, in the early days of Hollywood, Westerns were how you could have an action movie. And I really think that's a big part of it, is that's the only genre where there was action. And then they realized, oh, we could have action in other genres. It doesn't have to be in the Old West. But for some reason, it was like 40 years where they thought that was the only way you could show people like getting into a fight, is if it's in the Old West. But there is just something so like American about the idea of like the gunslinger. And you see it in so many movies that aren't Westerns. I think it's why John Wick and like Nobody with Bob Odenkirk and like every Denzel Washington movie it really does just follow the Western tradition of like a man with a mysterious past. Some guys messed with him. They messed with the wrong guy. Yeah. Now he's going to get revenge. And that's just the Western.
You're not wrong. It feels like a lot of things have taken the Western formula and just kind of reapplied it to for a modern audience, you know? I mean, guess John Wick would be a pretty good example of that. So yeah, I feel it. I feel it's definitely happening. It's on its way. So I'm gonna have to. But see, if I'm gonna get into them, I gotta get the recommendations from the people, so I don't start with something that's gonna put a bad taste in my mouth and be like, oh fuck, I don't want to watch this anymore. So I'm gonna have to get like a list from you or in my buddy Michael and be like, all right, give me some good starting points. Give me some gateway westerns to like get me into the genre. I have a feeling that I'm probably gonna enjoy spaghetti westerns the most. I just have a feeling.
I could see that. Yeah.
The only thing else I wanted to touch on really with this, I mean, I have so many more points, but I don't want to stay here forever. We already talked about the aliens not being little gray aliens, except for the ones that were fake. I really love the act. I love all the actors. I think Daniel Kaluuya is wonderful. He always is. Keke Palmer's tremendous. She has a movie coming out in a week called I Love Boosters, directed by Boots Riley, that I'm probably my most anticipated movie of the year. Ooh. Other than maybe The Odyssey. Okay. Because his first movie, Sorry to Bother You, is one of my favorite movies. But I love the chemistry between the three of them when Angel, played by Brandon Perea, comes in. There's such an odd chemistry between the three of these, just insanely different people. I love him as just this interloper who's just like, no, I mean, I feel like I'm part of the team now. Nobody invited me, but like, yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm gonna spy. I mean, he's violating their privacy. He's invading their home, but yeah, you can't help but love him. Yeah, and it's great too because the way they meet is funny. You know, they're buying these cameras, and Angel's like, just kind of, he just feels checked out, you know. And he's like, "Are you gonna not? You don't want me to install these?" And no, I was like, "Okay, not gonna install them. Good to know." And they're like, "Is this hard to install?" And he's like, "Not for me." And then he shows up, figures out what they're doing, and he's like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm into this." So I love that everybody that is brought into this is just like believers in UFOs and like wants to get the perfect shot. It's just, I don't know, it added to the fun for me. Everyone became very passionate. That, you know, I love it.
The way that between the way he plays it and, you know, the way Peele directs and writes him is like you understand everything about this guy just in the way he interacts with them at the store. Like his bosses are telling him, you have to upsell everybody. They're buying hundreds of dollars of equipment. That's not good enough. You have to get them to pay you to install it because that's where we actually make our money. He's sick of having to tell people this, but he also has this superiority complex over all these dumb customers who he knows so much more than. I love it.
Yeah, and he's not like a surface level character, but you're right. You know everything about him very quickly, and I love a character like that. Like I don't need any explanation from him. His arc is just very clear, and the three of them together are great. And then of course when Michael Wincott shows up, it just goes. His energy is just completely different than all three of their energies. He's just this old like cinematographer, just kind of I don't know. He doesn't feel checked out like Angel first did. I don't know. He just feels kind of old and frumpy. I mean, I don't know how else to explain him.
I think that he is a cinematographer. He lives in the world of images, so it's almost like he's not a part of the world. He almost doesn't know how to interact with humanity. He's just sort of this detached, ethereal being.
There we go, detached. Yeah, he feels very detached because he's just behind the camera. So when he gets the chance to possibly get this thing on camera, that's when his character kind of, I'd say, comes alive, but just there's a little more energy to him. And then by the end, he's got full blown just psycho face when he's being sucked up into the monster with that the hand crank fucking camera that he has. And what's really cool, I don't know, it says IMAX on the camera that he's using in the movie. I don't know if it's actually a real IMAX camera, but I know something fun about this is apparently this was the first horror movie shot in IMAX, which I thought was fascinating. You can definitely tell when the aspect ratios change that they were using IMAX cameras. So maybe that was just a ad for IMAX. Who the fuck knows?
It was shot on film, yes, including 65 millimeter for IMAX, and it's the movie looks incredible. Again, there's nothing better in a movie than a person on a horseback in front of a mountain. Beautiful.
10 out of 10. Last thing I'll say about this is one other thing that Jordan Peele kind of flips the script on and turns an open space into a claustrophobic space because, a lot of horror movies trap people in confined places. That's what gives you that claustrophobia. But this movie does the complete opposite, and it traps people under an open sky. So nothing feels safe. In fact, the confined house somehow feels safer than being outside because there's nowhere to hide outside. The environment is massive. They are way out in the mountains and you're constantly exposed. And so that movie, it just turns openness into dread. And I find that absolutely fascinating. And I love the reoccurring bit that they did with the cloud. That was really fun. That's the last thing I wanted to touch on when he's playing that, time lapse and he's like, you notice anything? And OJ is like, that cloud's not moving, and then that cloud's just sitting there. It's like that's the alien's home base, and this is where it sits in a little cloud and just hangs out until it's hungry, and then it comes down and fucks people up. So I think that
nobody notices anything about the world. Like something like that could be happening right now. I'd have no idea if the clouds in the sky are the exact same every single day.
Right.
I'm not looking at the sky.
And that's what OJ even says. He's like, it's probably been like that for the past 6 months for all I know. And it probably has. It's just been hanging out there, waiting, breathing, and you just don't know it's there. So I think that's all I got. I do feel like this stands out from the 2020s. Now watching it for the third time, it feels, it's a very smart movie that will make you think. There is some subtext, there is some theming going on, and it's a hard balance to pull off, but I think Peele fucking nails it in this movie. And I think my rating is going to go up today because I was totally awestruck by this movie. And it's weird that happened on the third time. I loved it the first time, loved it the second time, and then for some reason this time I was like, this is like peak cinema. So that's why I always say rewatch movies and give them another chance. If it didn't work for you the first time, it might work for you the second time. So that's my final thought of the day. Anything else you'd like to touch on or mention?
Yes, very important. Very important.
Let me hear it.
The restaurant they eat at, this fish restaurant, I'm like, what is this Wiener Schnitzel building? I gotta go to this. So it turns out it's a fake restaurant they made up, but this like fish chain. But apparently this chain was also in Us. So these two movies, this is a cinematic universe. It's all tied together. Lupita Nyong'o will, make a cameo appearance in Nope 2, I'm sure. But apparently the real location is a Jimmy's Charred Broiled Burgers in North Hollywood. So when I do my movie road trip one day, I will be eating there, and I can't wait.
Oh, I love it.
The other thing is that Angel works at Fry's Electronics, and I believe all the Fry's Electronics are closed, and they were already in rapid decline in 2022. But watch YouTube videos about Fry's Electronics in California. They were these sort of Circuit City stores, but each had its own theme, very kitschy. Like there was a UFO themed store and like an Alice in Wonderland themed store, but otherwise they were kind of just Best Buys that also sold like pornography and stuff. It was like, I've never been to one. I wish I could have gone, but they were like these leftovers from 30 years ago, and I wish they were still around.
That's so funny because the one that they go to in the movie has the UFO on the building. That's hilarious. Yeah. Okay. I love it. When are you going on this California tour? When is this happening?
It's never happening. I'm never doing it.
Oh, it's just the dream trip. Okay.
It's the dream. I can't even go to the movies, period. How am I going to go on the movie road trip?
I can't even fill my car up without it costing $1 million at this point. Shit is too expensive. All right. Well, one day, I do genuinely hope you get to go do this road trip. That would be a lot of fun and hit all these places. I do have some fun trivia that I'll get to in just a second because you mentioned the same restaurant popping up in Us. So let's roll on to the final cut here. So taglines. It's the same thing as the IMDb summary. The residents of a lonely gulch in inland California bear witness to an uncanny and chilling discovery. There was no other taglines. It was very strange. I like to live in the world where Nope actually stands for not of planet Earth. I find that to be fun, but that's just me being stupid. That's not even trivia. That's just my own brain. Got some really cool bits of trivia here, though. There wasn't a lot, but the stuff I have is pretty solid. So let's see. Jordan Peele cites King Kong, which this is really funny because we've mentioned most of these. King Kong, Jurassic Park, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which we just did, Signs, and The Wizard of Oz as influences on the film. He considers these films as examples of addiction to spectacle, a major theme in the film. And I know Signs is your favorite alien invasion of all time, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so touched that you know that.
Well, I remember it came up on the Shyamalan episode that we did of at Knock at the Cabin.
You remember?
Yeah, I remembered. Stephen Yin's character Jupe has a large pair of metal scissors on his desk, which are the same scissors prominently featured in Jordan Peele's previous film, Us. So 2 connections to Us. Interesting. Via his Twitter account, Jordan Peele shared the full intro to Gordy's Home shortly after the movie's release. Set to Strange Animal by Gowan, the video parodies similar 80s and 90s sitcom intros while also foreshadowing the more sinister events depicted in the film. The amusement park set of Jupiter's Claim is now a permanent part of Universal's Hollywood Studios backlot. It was converted to a haunted house maze during Halloween Horror Nights 2022. And like I mentioned earlier, this is the first horror film to be filmed with IMAX cameras. 2 very petty and dumb goofs, which I love. Nighttime scenes were filmed using a filter to darken scenes, but in all capitals. This technique leaves the sky blue, when in fact the night skies is always black! ! This technique tends to also leave landscapes bathed in sunlight, highly detailed, evident, when in fact it should fade, disappear into the shadows, and darkness of the background night. Shut up, nerd.
I'm subtracting a star from my review.
From your review?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
We did that.
When Emerald first meets Ricky, she asks him about looking around the memorabilia from his child star days. Ricky says su casa es mi casa, which translates to your house is my house, but the common phrase is mi casa es su casa. So, I mean, I kind of agree with that one, but it is just a dumb thing to point out. He said that, and I was like...
But that's the point. It's that... That's telling you about the character, that he doesn't know the expression.
Exactly.
He's gotten it wrong.
Exactly. I noticed that, and I was like, isn't it the other way around? And I was like, no, that's part of his character. Okay. So here we go. Rated kind of low on IMDb. I was kind of shocked. 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb. Our purposes of the Nightmare Index makes that a 3.4 out of 5. It has a 3.7 out of 5 on Letterboxd, an 83% on the tomato meter, and a 69% audience score. What do we have this at, Matt? What rating?
5.
5? I'm also raising it to a 5. It had been a 4.5 previously, so I'm also going to give it a 5, which gives us a Nightmare Index of, oh my goodness, 4.28. There we go. I can do math. So that puts this at number 3, right behind Train to Busan at oh wait, no, this is above Train to Busan. I'm stupid. So this puts this in the number 3 spot, ahead of Train to Busan at a 4.20 and just under Dawn of the Dead at a 4.35. I like seeing Nope all the way up on that fucking list. And that also means it is a Frightmares certified slap. Love to hear it. Similar movies according to IMDb, no surprise here, Us, Get Out, Hereditary, Midsommar, and Talk to Me, kind of went off there. And similar movies according to Letterboxd, No One Will Save You, Signs, A Quiet Place, The Thing, and Us. I think I have, what do I have? I think I came strapped with like 6 reviews just in case we had, I have 4 reviews from Letterboxd. Did you manage to grab any funny reviews to go over with me?
I did. He loves the Twilight Zone, Jordan Peele, and I think all 3 of his movies are Twilight Zone episodes turned into are basically like feature length Twilight Zone episodes. And I think that as a premise, this is less like a Twilight Zone episode than the other 2, but this deals with so many of the themes that the Twilight Zone deals with. And I do a Twilight Zone podcast, and it is obsessed with media and the way that TV is changing the way people are able to understand reality.
I love it.
So if you like Jordan Peele, check out The Twilight Zone from television.
From television. You remember television. All right. So I do have 4 reviews, but I will let you go first just in case we have any overlapping, because sometimes it does happen. So what do you have?
All right. This This is from Rotten Tomatoes. This is half a star. Quote, the worst movie my husband and I have ever seen. We still talk about how bad it was. End quote. So, I mean, I just like to imagine this couple like late at night in bed, just being like, yeah, babe, this is such a bad movie. I know.
I love the funny part of that review is just imagining this couple constantly talking about how bad it was.
We're always talking about it.
4.5 stars from Frames of Nick on Letterboxd. Giant gaping butthole in the sky eats Californians. I love a dumb review. All right, what else you got?
Half a star. This is from Hamad Sheikh 31 on Letterboxd. Quote, this movie is so bad, I hope Jordan Pell stubs a toe every time he thinks of this awful shit poopy caca film. I hate it so much. Just a bunch of nothing.
Oh my God. 5 stars from Karsten. Gonna go home and murder my IKEA plush monkey immediately. And I agree with you. Yeah. And I don't want any fucking monkeys tearing my dick off. You got any more?
You really don't.
If not, it's fine. I've got 2 more. If you've got nothing
I have
else.
a ton.
Okay.
I liked all of them when I did screen cap. I'm like, why did I think this was funny? Why did I think this was good?
Yeah, I do that too.
This is on Rotten Tomatoes, 1 star. Yeah, no. A lot of people start their review with, yeah, nope. Vivid characters cannot save this nonsensical plot. Make it make sense. Sure, there's some message Peele thinks he's trying to convey, but I don't get it. I like when people's complaint is, I don't understand the movie.
It sucks.
I didn't understand it.
Yeah, that's not a reason to hate a movie. If you don't understand it, learn. Go educate yourself on what you're not understanding. Go to the internet. Go to a Nope Explain. Get yourself some context, man.
Or like, hey, it's okay to not understand a movie. You don't have to take the step of leaving a review, though. What is that? What is that instinct?
I don't understand most of David Lynch's films, but they're fucking masterpiece. Every goddamn one of them is a masterpiece. I mean, come on, you don't have to understand it to love it. What do I got here? 2 more. 3 stars from Sri. Dune, sand butthole. Nope, sky butthole. I'm very excited for ocean butthole. And I don't know which one's ocean butthole is going to be, but I'm excited as well.
Yeah, what is ocean butthole? I'm very excited about this.
I'll come up with the concept.
Half a star from Letterboxd. This is Joe Swanson Biden. Whole vibe is annoying me, and despite the movie as a whole being confusing, each individual scene is predictable. Lame. Actually pretentious. Pretentiously although literacy perplexity. So it seems like now he's doing like a lot of like, I'm just using some big words just to be like, I'm a smart movie. And this is just another thing that annoys me about people leaving reviews. Again, all these things are okay to think.
Right.
Why leave a review where you complain about how something was confusing and you're not smart enough to understand it?
That brings me back to my whole thing about elevated horror. It was a term created by people who don't understand horror movies that make you think. That's what it is. They're like, I don't understand this. Go look at the ending explain videos. I've done it myself. If I'm like, oh fuck, I don't really get that movie. Let me go see an ending explained. Boom. I'm like, oh, there's my context. Now I like the movie. I don't need to go right in.
I blame film critics because, historically, they've tutted about horror films. So if one's good, they have to be like, no, you have to see this one's elevated. It's really trying stuff. It's really kind of critiquing the genre.
Also, this film is not predictable. There's no way on planet Earth anyone would have predicted that it wasn't a UFO and it was actually a creature. That was one of the fucking wildest reveals of the 20th century. Last one from me. Karen H. Appears to be a female. No stars, just a heart. And it says, Michael Wincott, step on me, please. People are getting weird out there. So that's all I've got for reviews. If you want to do one more, go for it.
Thank you. Oh, there's Lacey.
Oh my God, a special guest appearance by Lacey. Hello.
I can't hear anything. Is he saying I'm beautiful?
He is. He's
yes.
just like, Lacey.
You're glowing. You're glowing.
You're glowing.
I'm growing.
You're growing? Yeah, you're growing.
You're a growing girl.
Okay. All right. Look out for umbrella aliens in the sky.
Yeah. Butthole aliens. All right. You got one more?
Yeah. I have one. Half a star. It just says nope. But again, our verdict, say yep to Nope.
Yeah, say yep to Nope. I love that so much. I really want to put that on a t-shirt and confuse everybody. Oh, goodness gracious. If you have enjoyed the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Slasher, Threads, and YouTube at Frightmares Podcast. Our email is stayspooky@outlook.com. You can follow me personally on Letterboxd at Dr. Proctor. What are you on Letterboxd, Matt?
Matt Stokes 9.
And where can everybody find the glorious 1 Week Rental podcast on social media?
Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's all the same. The numeral 1 week rental. 1 week rental.
And if you're lucky enough to see one of the little things that they animate with Lacey's head and your head, it is a spectacle to be seen. I fucking love those.
A spectacle.
It just makes my day every time I see one of those, or anytime I see a Lacey rant. I love it's just great. You never know what you're gonna get from 1 Week Rental when you're scrolling on.
What do you like that I do though? Tell me something that I do.
All of these specific review, like you did those. What did you do? Those specific Christmas movies or something? Like a very what were they?
It was like a Christmas movie for every genre.
Yeah, I love that. I fucking watched every single one of those, and I was like, this is amazing. Yeah, so great content over from them at 1 Week Rental. If you'd like to expand your movie podcast listening, be sure to check out the Shameless Picture Show, the Dead-Eyed Millennial Film Club, and 1 Week Rental, as I say every week. Next week, Michael and I will be doing an Italian alien movie called Contamination from 1980 as our international pick, and this is streaming everywhere. Look at me go, picking movies that you can actually access. It is on Plex, it is on Pluto, it is on Roku, and it is on Tubi. So check out Contamination. What's their faces? Goblin did the soundtrack for it, so at least it will have that going for it.
That's always fun. That instantly elevates anything that it's in.
Exactly. So thank you for joining me, Matt. Really appreciate you being here. And until next week, guys, stay tuned and stay spooky.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description